Hi everyone, my name is Pierce. I'm the director of the Transnational Literature Series here at Brookline Booksmith and your host for tonight's conversation. I want to open up this space by saying thank you for coming out tonight. The Booksmith has been around since 1961, and that's because of our wonderful community. Your support means we can keep having events like this, so thank you again. Let me just fix this. As you may know, tonight's event is part of our ongoing Transnational Literature Series, which focuses on stories of migration, the intersection of politics and literature, and works in translation. If you enjoyed tonight's event, please check out our full events lineup online at brooklinebooksmith.com so you don't miss some of the amazing authors we have coming up this spring, both virtually and in store. You can also follow us on Instagram for updates. Toward the end of the event, we'll leave about 15 minutes or so for an audience Q&A, followed by a signing. We have copies of tonight's featured book available over at the register. And please take a moment to silence your cell phones. I think that takes care of the business end of things, and I'd love to tell you a little bit about our guests. Tonight I have the very great honor of introducing Mirela Kulović and Ksenija Kadić, here to discuss and honor the release of their book, Playground, a groundbreaking collaboration manual for fostering authentic connections and embracing the unknown. Playground brings together philosophy and art through the unique collaboration of Mirela and Ksenija, and the book documents their year-long authentic philosophical conversations, providing readers with a powerful example of co-creation and a guide for navigating their own creative journeys. Mirela Kulović is a multidisciplinary artist whose practice unfolds across multiple geographies and disciplines. Her work spans drawing, painting, film, sculpture, and most recently, text-based and participatory art. Grounded in long-term processes, material experimentation, and relational engagement, her practice foregrounds making as an ongoing, embodied form of inquiry. Alongside her studio practice, she actively supports arts institutions, community programming, and cross-disciplinary collaboration. She regularly participates in international discussions on art, culture, and migration, and is lectured in high schools, universities, and other public settings. And Ksenija Kadić is a writer, creative practitioner, and transformational coach, and the founder of the School of Fluidity Association in Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. She holds a degree in psychology from the University of London, and later moved into creative and participatory art practice. She is the creator of the Fluidity of Self philosophy, which explores identity as relational, creative, and fluid. Her work spans multiple countries through Transformatorio Lab, where she collaborated with artists across disciplines, exhibiting in Italy and performing her own original work. I'm so pleased to have them here together in conversation, and I'm Mirela and Ksenija. So I'm very lucky. I have the first question of the evening, and I'd love to start at the beginning and ask the two of you how you first met and how this book came to be.
I can start. So I guess 9 years ago, I came to Boston first to do my first workshop in Fluidity of Self. And it was a International Hearing Voices conference. And one day, as I was having a break, I walked into this same bookstore, and as I was going downstairs, I remember now, there were some paintings exhibited. And I looked at them, and what I saw at the time was the image that represented to me this idea that I was working on, which I call Fluidity of Self. And it represented an image of an individual. I would say for me, it looked something that I experienced in my own journey of migration. It had pieces of what presents an individual, but in a fluid way. So when I looked at the paintings, I saw that Mirela was the painter, and I decided to go to the cashier and ask for the email. And that's how I contacted Mirela. And we went for a little dinner, I think, and that's how we met. And I guess 9 years later, here we are in the same bookstore.
Yeah, in the same, but it was a little bit smaller. It was a little bit smaller space. I don't know if you remember.
like this part wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so it was really interesting that we are here now in this space, celebrating something that is our book. So I would like to say that I'm really excited about this event, to be able to really share a journey that is showed in a book in one way, and also to ask Ksenija as well to share maybe a little bit about our process, how we started to writing together, and if you can explain your experience between writing and maybe editing the book, and what was your experience, because it's our first first this kind of adventure. I did many other things, but this is my and Ksenia's first book, so it will be interesting to hear how do you feel.
So I guess what I would like to say here is to just bring this idea of creativity. This is what interests me in my own journey. I've studied psychology, worked in mental health for many years, still do, work with people who hear voices and have altered realities, and really supporting different ways of looking at reality. This is what I really am curious about. So when we started to collaborate together, it was about topics of conversation that could be potentially philosophical, but they are not necessary about the topic itself. So it's a little bit of, I guess, a paradox in itself, that you can write a book that it's not giving you the knowledge of a topic or subject matter. It is about how you experience reality and how you experience the relationships. And this is what really, was the big driver for me at the time. And I remember it was written when pandemic started, so it was a very particular time in all of our lives. It sounds like a bit surreal at the time, but that was like an altered reality itself. So when we met, it was here in Boston, and it was the only time we met in person, and then we started meeting online. And now online work is really a norm, but at the time it wasn't. So we were meeting via Zoom, and we came with this very simple format, which is we would meet up at Zoom and we'll have these conversations about reality, about relationships, about different topics and discussions, and we would record it as we speak. So when one would be speaking, the other one would be writing, and vice versa. And at the time, we didn't even think it's going to come out as a book, but through the work together, we thought this is something that we can showcase as a process. So to value art and creativity in a different way. So this is what we want to showcase with this book, is to bring the experience, which we often forget as an artist, as a creative people, or just as a humans. We often forget about our moments, how we spend time drinking coffee or eating pizza or anything like that, how we do relationships. What do we do in relationships? So that's one aspect of our creative process, is really bringing that alive and experiencing And this is what we call, which I'll talk about later, about our space to be different, and really valuing authentic conversations, really valuing about what the reality of our everyday life brings, I would say. So that's one aspect of that. And the second one was when we were editing the book, which we done very little, and this was a very conscious choice for us. It was about reflecting what we have written and deciding that we really want to keep it as it is, not try to touch it up too much as we do now on Instagram posts or with our reality. We are subject to always kind of glamming it up or glossing it or editing it and working and reworking. So we wanted to keep this raw form as much as possible so that we can bring that imperfection into the art, into the creative world, into the process. So not to concentrate so much on that editing process, I would say. Yeah.
Can I add a few things?
Yeah.
So for me was also about exploring abstract ideas in conversation form, because today's conversation, it seems we just touch reality or our experience, but in a way, for me, I had a need to really explore some abstract ideas. So that maybe we didn't explain so much, like what is our truth in a way, but we kind of showed a way how to explore different ideas, and for me that was really a big learning process. And I was it's really interesting when you read later the book. I almost forgot 90% of the book, and for me, when I read it again, it's more about what is not told or written than what is actually in the book, because there are layers. I don't know. That's my experience. I mean, I am obviously somebody who wrote the book, but in a way, when after 1 or 2 years, when you read it, I'm a reader, and for me, it's really interesting how many new ideas is coming to me when I read, and I'm really surprised how we didn't put that part as well, because there is always more, I feel, in a way. So I mean, we could go on, but maybe we can move.
Yeah, so I would like to ask a question which for me at the time was really relevant when we started working together, and it was the role of an artist and really exploring different identities, because this is something that I am really interested in. Fluidity of self as an idea of how identities are formed and how we can play with our different roles. So I would like you to maybe expand a bit on that subject. Yeah.
I can say like how, at what time I started to call myself an artist. So my background is in industrial engineering, and as Ksenija now mentioned, different roles that we have in our lives, either as in our families or our job roles, or I don't know, any other role. So for me, that kind of profession was really wasn't really enough to show all my interest in different things. So that was the time when I realized maybe role of an artist is kind of something that better suits my identity. And I believe, and what I think that artists do different than maybe other profession is they connect many different things in a new way that could be really abstract, but in a way it does show how can something that is maybe very simple could be done in a different way. So for me, that's the maybe that kind of identity for somebody who is really interested in creativity and creating things.
I remember at the time when we were talking about identities, you said something about what do you mean by identity, like what is a definition for identity for you?
For me, it's always depending on situation, really. But we kind of shift in a different roles, but we kind of shaped by people we met in our lives. I think that's kind of the most important, and maybe people we often hang out with.
So it's about situations.
Situations and relationships, I think.
I think there's a lot to explore with identity work, and I think with this book we touched a little bit on that, and maybe we can read the paragraph of the playful identities. Yeah?
It's really about not be afraid to try something different for me. Should we start with 65?
Yeah.
So it's about playful identities, and so our book is usually created in a way that each chapter has a question. Should I ask?
Yeah.
So this starts with a question for the reader. Think about one person with whom you can be playful with. Who would that be? We both took time to think about the statement. We can't play with anyone, and agreed that it was true. We think that a person chooses a playing mate on a subconscious level. There is an attraction present that is hard to explain. I just feel I can play with somebody because I trust that person and feel confident. And I won't be judged when I act playful and spontaneously.
I can be playful myself anytime, but when it comes to different situations, I feel I can only play or be playful with those who open up to my playful energy.
Are you able to open to people who might not be playful?
I can, only in situation that I'm cautious, then this becomes more difficult. It goes back to what you said. It's about trust and energy. It takes more time, and if I don't feel that the other person is willing, then I choose not to play, or I don't want to. I guess this is something that maybe sparked this idea about why we have made this book. Maybe you want to say a bit about that.
So I think it was about exploring different identities in a way, because we wanted to try how is to be a writer. That was really interesting, and we wanted to try how is to be philosopher, like really kind of ask questions and maybe like deep dive about the subject matter, but in a way it was really funny and exciting, and we know that this is just like some kind of game that we are exchanging ideas, but sometimes you came up with really good ideas, but others are maybe silly, but doesn't matter, because it was really fun to explore these roles. And I remember when we came up with the idea also like role of a mathematician as well, and I think one was about there was many other roles, but we wanted to really like explore these situations, maybe in a childlike way. So I think we often forgot that, and that was a really fun way to kind of put all these ideas together. And we also included these like formulas about reality. So it could really feel a little bit silly, but that was the point for me, like to not be too serious all the time.
I remember like when we came up with formulas, even though it was playful, it meant something. So I often think about art and creativity and other subjects in the world, that a lot of the ideas come spontaneously. They come as an idea and then become theory, or they become some kind of groundbreaking ideas. Or products, exactly. So we wanted to really be playful with that and see where it takes us. Although when we did write these formulas, they really made sense, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed that part.
But I think this could be a really close future. So we actually have at the end of the book our manifesto, and there is one like small instruction, like try one different profession for one day. So for me that's kind of really interesting today, when technology is really developing fast, and in a way that we have to invent new professions and find a way how to really go through day. So I think these kind of exploring different ideas in a playful way is really interesting, how to loosen up and bring something new into reality. And can we also touch base on like maybe project? A little bit about that. What do you think?
So when we started collaborating before the book was born, I introduced Mirela to my idea of fluidity of self, which is about playing with different identities to bring out your authentic self. So really being curious. So there are 6 principles to how we can be more authentic. And these are the principles of fluidity, which are noticing, so really noticing what is happening around you as well as inside of you. It's allowing, and that's allowing yourself to be different, allowing yourself to go with the flow, and sometimes that comes in different forms. Curiosity, it's about being curious, being really open to explore, to be in this role of explorer, to uncover different identities that you may have forgotten, or that maybe it's in your ancestral field, that they are there, but you just lost touch with them or connection. Then there is accessing, which is accessing your creativity, accessing your inner voice and expressing it. And then the fifth one is honesty, so being really honest about who you are and to express yourself honestly, speaking from your heart, I would say, if you choose to or if you choose not to. So it's really revealing that to yourself. And then the last one is trusting. So trusting is really about trusting yourself and trusting your life journey. And what we did with that is we worked on the game of playing with empty boxes. So what we come up with together is this idea of creating a space to be different. So a space where you can explore your different self in a safe way, but also to challenge yourself to be who you are with others. We can often be ourselves when we are by ourselves. So we go on retreats often, we come out from that retreat, we are in the real world and we forget what we uncovered. But when we are doing this work together in the relational field,
with other people,
yeah, that is really challenging. So really being silly with other people, it's not easy. So playing with empty boxes, it's all about that. It's challenging yourself to be different with another person, even when it feels silly. So over in pandemic, over I think eight weeks or something like that, we held these participatory art sessions, which were playing with boxes and introducing people to these 6 principles, to really be in touch with their authentic self. And
it was also about a present moment, because when you hold something like that is some kind of small box, and you kind of feel really like what is this about, but you kind of push yourself to play with other people, and that was really idea that opened up something new in my own experience with other people. Because it's easy to be silly in your own head, but when you have these kind of playful moments with other people, you kind of show up that part of yourself that is often hidden in your everyday life. So that was actually before this book was started, and then during that time we started also to meet to really record some other ideas. But I think this simple game in a way open up new space to be more creative, and we call that kind of name that that help us to be different. So space to be different was the actual name. So
yeah, I think with this book we wanted to continue that exploration, So to explore yourself in a different way. So the book is, as I said at the start, it's about experimenting with different topics, with different subjects, and allowing yourself to be in a different role. Because we often think, okay, you know, I've been, traditionally people have been in their jobs or profession for a long time, and I know in my kind of mother's era or something like that, people had their job from when they start to almost when they retire. And I always find that interesting. How do you embody just one role? What would happen if you, at least for a day, or if you just go out of that routine and try something different? How would that be? How exciting, how authentic that would be if you could try that. And it is often scary if you think of yourself, oh, I'm a poet one day and I'm a doctor the second day. And this is why I think this book can give a reader a little bit of a flavor of that, or a taste of that experience, if you really allow yourself to experiment. That is the idea, to really go and challenge yourself in a way that feels comfortable but still challenging. It is a bit like that. So I guess it would be good to ask, maybe if you are up to being challenged, to ask you a question to see whether some of you would like to answer, or maybe give that interaction back to you, so that you can feel, maybe you can explore this topic a bit.
Should we do reverse?
Yeah?
So we wanted to ask you, can you play with anyone, and why not? And the second question is, what is one fun thing you did with another person this week? So these two questions, if anyone wants to answer. First one is, can you play with anyone, and why not?
If anyone wants to answer, put your hand up.
Is anyone feeling brave? Yes, okay.
Okay. I don't know that I can play with. Do you mean play as in like childish, carefree?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you can play with anyone.
Why not?
I think that they would be surprised, appalled, maybe even threatened, scared. Like I could see people go through the motions of like, I mean, most people would probably say yes, but anyone, I don't think so.
How do you select person?
It's in their eyes. I don't know. Maybe you put out a signal and then see how they react.
But you kind of do you know, like you feel, or
I mean, I think you have to be open to receive whatever they're giving you or whatever they're trying to communicate. But you could also get yourself in trouble, I think, because play. Now that I'm thinking about it, you know, play could mean different things to different people. When there's no outlined boundaries, I think it could go to many places, maybe some not welcome.
so boundary, like some kind of rules, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
like instructions, or
yeah,
something like that.
right.
We've got.
Here's a microphone for you.
Oh, all right, okay. I'll say yes. You can play with anyone. It's just, you can't be self-conscious about the outcome. So, I'm a musician, and so there's a lot of stories that musicians tell each other. Can you just, sit down at your instrument and play with anyone? And yeah, a lot of times I have my doubts, of course. So in music, they say music is a game of listening. So dance is a game of looking, they say. So just translate that into any social situation, and yeah, you can do it. You know, and you definitely, no expectations. You can't be daunted, and you have to have fun.
Fun, yes.
Yeah, you just have to have fun with it. And yeah, you may get some nasty reactions, but you know, I mean, I've been booed off stage, so I mean, what's the big deal, you know?
You're brave. Maybe that's the formula. You have to be brave, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit at least, yeah. Yeah, you may have to like see the humor in things, you know. But I think if you're listening to somebody, they can't totally lose you, you know. Listen to them, respond to them, you know. See what happens, tease them, you know. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
So it's all about, it's as you said, it's all about the unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
The unknown.
And so that's what makes it special. I mean, and I think that's what art is going for. I mean, you know, otherwise we're always revealing the same thing that we already know. I mean, otherwise, you know, then it could be kind of boring. So I mean, I guess in the early 20th century they were trying to discover things within the subconscious, you know, and that was supposed to be the magic. And maybe we're still doing that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we haven't outgrown that. You know, the surrealist movement. Stuff like that, yeah.
Experimenting.
All right, okay, I'll pass that.
Thank you.
Take on the whole.
And what was the second question?
Second question was, what is the one fun thing you did with another person this week?
Come on, I can tell you guys have done fun things this week. You look like a very fun crowd.
Playful.
One playful thing? Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I took my niece to the Fog Museum at Harvard. We got all this like scavenger hunt stuff. She's 7 years old, and she was not interested in it. The only thing she cared about is how the statues didn't have hands, because they would, you know, fall off. Some didn't have arms, and then the more she got into it, the more she realized others don't have legs. Some don't have heads, and we walked around and around the museum, and all we kept saying was, no arms, no legs, no heads, no body, no mouth. And that was my day at the museum.
That's fun.
What a day of culture. Yes, it is amazing how children can encourage us to be playful in a way that we can't be ourselves. Or like a dog, a puppy, or an animal or something. Did anyone else do anything playful this week? I feel like you are giving me really good eye contact. I'm coming up to you.
Me? Yes. Oh man.
Did you do something playful this week?
I actually did.
I was on the bus and I was reading a book and somebody asked me if I got it from a free library, because apparently he had just dropped the exact book off at a free library around the corner. And I said no, but we talked for a second and I noticed he had 2 little daughters and they were acting crazy. They were wild. They were licking each other. They were like pushing each other. It was like, and this dad was overwhelmed trying to keep a conversation with me. And so I just thought about what I liked when I was a little kid. And so I just asked them, you know, do you know this game? And I didn't know what it's called, but you know, everybody, every culture has like a little hand game that you have to keep up with, you know? Mine was counting. You had to count, and if you lost track, then you had to restart. And so we did that. We played that, and they immediately quieted down, focused, and it was very fun. So that was my fun moment, as I played with a strange little 5 and 8-year-old little girl that I didn't know. I played patty cake with them.
Yes, cute.
And next question?
Two, just two for the.
Okay. So
We could probably do one more question. Do you guys want to talk for a little bit? Or do you want to go to audience questions?
Oh, we can do 2 hours question.
Yeah, okay.
I think would be interesting.
Okay, so we're going to pivot to audience questions. Does anyone have a question to start now that we've warmed up the room a little? Yes, wonderful.
Hi, so I'm curious in this kind of digital age for these younger generations, Gen Zs, and so, like, how important do you think is it? Like, we are all kind of scrolling through our phones all the time, or watching TV videos or whatever we do. How important is boredom in finding our own identities and kind of playing,
Like a boredom, like
being bored?
I think it's really good space to be.
I think about boredom a lot, actually.
Lot of potential.
Yeah, and it goes a little bit into the unknown and into imaginary and creating, I guess, my own experiences, creating my own stories in my head and trying to see whether they mean anything or drawing up ideas, being bored. It can be also frustrating. It can be challenging as well at the time.
Which part?
Being
bored.
Being bored. If for me, I would say personally, it can feel restless. Yeah. So in the new age, when we are scrolling on the phone and looking at things, it's almost like this co-creation of boredom. It's, I don't know, I had entered this space where you see these TikTok videos, you see all these kinds of things online, and it's almost like you enter this space where everybody is trying to work out something to say. So I would say it's not straightforward. So it's not going to be like, yes, it's good to be bored, or no, it's not good to be bored. There's not like a definite answer, but it's definitely something we need to experience, I would say, yeah.
So in my experience, I don't remember lately when I had that kind of bored time, but I remember in my childhood when on Sundays, summer Sundays in the afternoon, that was like a really experience of boredom. But lately, I don't think so. I mean, you can create that space, but you always have some kind of information around yourself to deal with. So I think in my childhood, I experienced this type of moments, but for the last maybe even 20 years, not so much. Yeah. Is that answers your question?
What is your view on it?
I was kind of thinking, do you need some time where you're not just getting dopamine shots of scrolling through media to kind of have your creativity come out, something where your thoughts are on their own without all these digital inputs, to get something going on with your thoughts, to get it out as a creative output of something?
I mean, my kind of how my philosophy started in a way, fluidity of self, is when I was in a kind of place where the reality wasn't easy, yeah, and I went to this. He was like a fortune teller back home, and I didn't go to him. It was my friend that went, and I just made her a company. And he asked me, "What about you? What's happening?" You know, And I said, oh, you know, it's just life as it is. He says, I said, I don't know what to do, you know, with my life. You know, what should I do? It's just the way the life is. And he said, well, when you don't know what to do nothing. And I was like, what do you mean do nothing? You have to do something. He was like, no, just do nothing. Do nothing for a year if you can. And then whatever you do, you'll do something. And I was getting angry. So when I left, I was like, what does he mean, do nothing? That's just stupid. Like, how can he say this to me? But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, really, this got something. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do nothing. And then I was like, okay, so when you decide to do something, you just do it. Other than that, you just do nothing. But we are not comfortable doing nothing. This is, as a society, I think we are, because whenever I ask someone, like if I have a conversation when they have a challenging time in life, and I was like, how are you with doing nothing? They get angry. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's something in it, you know. Maybe that's to do with boredom. I don't know. Maybe. You look shocked. Sorry. I just see your face. Did you want to add something?
No, I'm not sure. Isn't it all of inspiration, boring, nothing? It's all of inspiration, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question back here.
Thank you so much for this very interesting conversation. And I was just looking through the book, and I just wanted to ask a question about the book itself. And I see that you've organized this flow of conversation by topic, and those conversations are in language, even though much of what you were doing through play was not necessarily verbal. And I also see some of Mirela's artistic interventions in the book, almost like another language entering the book. And I wonder if you could speak a little bit about the art that you include here. Were you making this art in response to the conversation as another layer of conversation? How did you come to bring that forward?
So we selected some, thank you for the question. We selected some topics that we would like to cover visually. And it was much more visuals, but in a way we wanted to really play with the visual language as well. And when I said to Ksenija that we need to really decide how this process would be, I said to her, it should be connected with the book, but also I want them to kind of stand by themselves in a way, not illustrating any chapter or topic, but really like expressing in a visual language some ideas. It's not really. It's neither theme, but it's really like catching some kind of in a way that is beyond words, if I can put that way. It's really hard to put to explain. It just happened in a way because we were working so much with these online workshops, and they are kind of visual as well, playing with boxes and asking each other questions and maybe about shape of the box or something like that. And the process was really spontaneous, and at the end we selected visuals that really spoke to us in a playful way. That was process about. And this one that you see on the cover, it's actually two of our visuals put together. So we wanted to show, like, in a visual way, what is collaboration about. Because you kind of bring your own, each of us bring our own experience and knowledge, and then when you collaborate, there is some kind of third entity, if I can put it that way. And I wanted also that visuals are a really simple one. So that I don't know if this sense. So do you want to add?
I think what you said about like a third entity is almost like we call it in the book, isn't it, like a little devil or something. We believe that there is a lot of what we did is a lot about energy, I feel, and dynamic between us.
Yeah, I think musicians know that even better, like when you play with more people. But it's different when you do something as an individual, and when you do together. Even some visuals are like co-author, and some are like it's only Ksenia's, but in a way we know that we influence each other's work, so that was kind of represented on the color, because it's all one process. You kind of influence other creative person with your ideas, and I think that's in a way how to explain collaboration and doing something with other person that is shared ownership in a way, and I think it's more vulnerable. Is that the right?
Maybe it's more kind of it's more exposing in some ways, but it's, for me, it's more joyful. I like that side of playfulness, that part of playfulness, because if you think about the play and how we evolve as human beings, it's all about repetition, it's all about being with another person. We don't exist in a vacuum. So it is essential that we play, that we share our energy, and that we explore each other's points of view. Otherwise, as I said, you can come up to some insights, but they are just your own. It just stays in your head, it stays locked in. So it is vulnerable, but if you could, with this book, I really wanted to invite people to collaborate, to play together more, because as species, I think in nowadays day and age, we kind of losing that a bit. We don't have that interaction that we used to have. I remember even back home, or even when I'm in London, you don't go outside, just sit down in front of your building, and whoever passes, you have a conversation, or you have a playful interaction. That just doesn't happen anymore. I try to go out as much as out of my way when I'm in a coffee shop or in a bookstore, like I did when I came here 9 years ago, to deliberately start a conversation, to start to energy share, because that's the real exploration of our real identity, of our authentic self, not this man-made up roles that we can embody if we choose to, but if we don't have to as well. So it's a kind of about choice as well. So for me, this is really crucial message that I'd like to share with the world, I guess, with this book. It sounds grandiose, but there you go. Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Well, this is an interesting topic. So the first question that you asked about whether people can play with anybody. I'm just trying to develop this thinking of what playfulness is, and you keep talking about authentication of yourself, and so you can be playful in many different ways, either with words, as you said, so you can just chat and make funny observations and just play with the words, and then playful physically, and I can't imagine what's this game with the boxes, but you can come up with creative ideas. So I'm just thinking about various possible playful activities, and I was just wondering, with this book, do you offer some just like thoughts about how people can be more joyful, as you say, or playful, or what is your idea about how people can perceive this book, and what can they gain from playing more? Just like, yeah.
I think what this book does, it doesn't give you answers, if that makes sense. It's not a subject matter thing. It is showcasing, although it can be, but it's more about what you experience with when you're reading it, and how, how do you answer this question? Do you actually go and collaborate, or you don't? It's something that it's really up to a person to take up on. The invitation is there, but you are kind of the author of that story, of that playful interaction. So it's like that's where kind of the work is. So it's like if you find yourself being in a place where you think, oh, I'm not going to do it, or I have some reservation, or this is, challenging, then you might ask yourself a question, do I go on this journey? So hopefully, there is an invitation, there is an inspiration for you to then take that step, even though it might be a bit of a challenge to start off with,
But
Yeah.
for that reason, we did some questions in the beginning of each chapter, and some tasks as well. And what I find interesting in my process of being playful, maybe each week to find, to try something new in a way, depending what you do for your profession, but really pushing outside your comfort zone, and starting small. And I think it's more about practice, trying things and exploring for yourself. But actually, in each chapter there is some kind of small instruction. I like to go on new place each week, like to this, even in my own neighborhood, just to walk around and try to find something new, really like something really simple. It's not about big grandiose exploration, but some kind of simple thing that either you just go a different way to your store in a neighborhood or something, or next week you call somebody that you didn't hear for a long time, or something really, really simple. But what I find really big discovery is having conversation with the different people. That is something that is joyful for me. So
I think I remember when I first came to UK, to London, I was looking for jobs, and I find like a different culture. People would say, I definitely call you next day, and I would really think they will call me. So I would go back home and say to my friend, you know what, I really had good, like responses. They said they're gonna call me. I'll get the job definitely this week, but no one ever called me. Then I was really puzzled, and I was like, "But what's going on? Like people say they're gonna call me, they never did.
But did you call them?
What is this all about?" That time it wasn't like mobile phones and all of that. It was like early, like it was like late 90s, and. Then I realized it's like, okay, people say that just to be kind, or to say, like when they say, "How are you?" "I'm fine." So it's a bit like that. But so many times we are not fine, but we don't say anything. We don't say, "Well, actually, I'm not fine. I had a really bad day," or something. You don't go to say something as simple as that because it's vulnerable, yeah? Because they might ask you something personal or whatever that is. So that's kind of like, how do you explore that? How do you explore simple "how are you" with someone else? When someone asks you, "How are you gonna say really how you are? Or do you actually know how you are?" Because many times we don't even know how we are in any given moment. So everyday life gives you these opportunities for having moments that you can really be authentic and really explore that as much as you can, I would say. So it is simple, but it's not simple when you are putting your kind of self on the line.
Do you think like, are you saying like being on
Autopilot. Yeah, it can be. Or that autopilot is more like your own mindset. Because you kind of that's why playing with boxes, you kind of box yourself into the mindset that you just need to push through to show your best self, for example. Yeah? To be that self that maybe it's not authentic, just to push through the day. So, and I remember speaking to one guy when we talked about having a coffee, because coffee is like a very big ritual where I come from, and I really enjoy having a coffee. But many times, even just having a coffee, it's not really
big agenda.
Yeah,
right?
there's an agenda, or you're not being present. So this is like, how often do you really have a coffee and enjoy that coffee? And what actually is enjoyment is that you are being authentic. You really are sharing that bit about yourself as much as possible in your own way. So that's the invitation is there, I guess, to bring that a bit more into your life, I say.
I think that's a beautiful place to end. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. We have books for sale in the back. We're going to do a